Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Anish. Guys, the last session of the day. It's always fun to be between you and the fun evening. So we had a good discussion before the session started, and we've promised to keep all the answers short, monosyllabic, if possible. But no, it's a very interesting topic. Listen, we've always talked about this this divide or union of malls and brands, and I think Anish set the context in the morning about talking about the fact that when malls and brands used to talk earlier, there used to be the big fight, and it used to be like almost like a refereeing match between the two. But hopefully things have evolved, because before I worked for DLF, I was on the other side. I was working with the brand. I was with Adidas, and at that time, malls were essentially landlords, and that was all the the transactional relationship that was there. And over a period of time, I've seen that relationship evolve, where malls become more participative, more invested in the success of brands. And now I'm on the other side. Obviously, I have vested interest in saying that, but we like to think that malls are more consumer-centric today. So with that, I'm going to dive right into the session. And like I promised, Mayur, I'm going to ask you the first question. So, as mall marketing, how are you aligning your events, media plans, or loyalty programs with brand level campaigns to create this whole unified consumer journey?
Thanks, Amrit. Firstly, it's great to be back here. Congratulations to Images for putting up this great show. So I'll break it down into two parts, right? First, let's delve into understanding what we have been doing at Phoenix, right, from the Phoenix point of view, and then what are we doing in this collaborative journey, right, in this creating this whole unified journey for our customers. If I have to talk about the first part, see, I think Phoenix over a period of time has moved beyond using content as an enabler, right, for commerce. In fact, it's a platform where content, communities, and commerce coexist, right? And this has been seen through the kind of campaigns, the marketing programs we run, where it is the stunning, large experiential decor, the large ticketed events with performers, etc. While we are talking about content is the buzzword, I think we also need to understand the importance of context, right? I feel without context, content is irrelevant. When I say that, I mean what is relevant, is it timely, not just what we are doing it, how we are bringing the content out there, to whom is it targeted, etc., etc. Now, this is the larger part. There are multiple focused initiatives also that have been, driven across the year with retailers. So, for example, we do a lot of these guest lister events, right, where we connect with HNI, Ultra HNI Premium profile customers and give the brands a direct opportunity to connect and engage with them. This results in good numbers, right? That is one. Secondly, we also encourage them to collaborate in our IPs, events, etc., in various forms, whether it is F&B, whether it is merchandising, whether it is tactical pop-ups. Third, which is a very important aspect in our case, is what we call the direct marketing stack, right? Here we are talking about extremely sharp, focused marketing initiatives that are programmed to sort of get people from various communities, schools, colleges, clubs, etc. And then these are designed in such a way that we bring to the retailers. There's direct business, right? So these are 3-4 things that we have been doing consistently, not just large campaigns, but also these focused programs with retailers.
Cool. Thanks so much for that. Mayank, We talked about your brand outside, and you said that, it's a 148-year-old brand, and it's been going on for generation. Or correct me if I'm wrong.
144, yeah.
144-year-old brand. Now, how has your relationship with malls evolved over time? And I'm not talking 144 years, but the last few.
No malls then.
How has that relationship with malls evolved from being, like I mentioned, when I was with Adidas, it was a transactional partner. Are you seeing that shift from being transactional to being a strategic ally? And what do you now expect from them that you didn't expect 5 years back?
It's a great question. The first mall store that we opened in a mall was around 25 years back. So it was completely, like you said, they were the landlords, So now we are in more than 30 malls. I'm glad we don't have 30 landlords to serve now. So the whole mindset has changed. So I think what the landlords have also realized is that it has to be a collaborative exercise. And the retailers have also realized is that we need to give, there has to be a give and take. I think the big game changer was COVID. Because COVID, about 5 years back, was, all the revenues of everyone, the landlords, the tenants, was zero. So it was a matter of survival for everyone. So, as tenant community, we were all very nervous. And what will happen if we were charged like full rentals, right? So most of us would have gone out of business. So, we were very grateful that most of the big developers gave very generous waivers. So that was a big confidence building thing for retailers, that we got that support from the landlords when we most needed it. So that was a big positive. And in fact, they were more generous than most high street landlords when it came to rebates. So that was a big advantage. And also, I think from the landlord perspective, they realized that, now a lot of the business is shifting online as well. So they realized that, it couldn't just be a transactional experience. It had to be more of an experience center. So I think most of the malls now are trying to be more experience centers. So I think that mindset also changed, which has helped. For example, DLF does this event every year called Wedding Tales. So they started this. So, it's a completely wedding focus. They have a fashion show. They have different stylists that are on board. They have the whole ecosystem of the mall is geared around weddings. Because if a wedding customer comes into the mall, they will obviously buy the jewelry, they'll buy the relevant apparel, but they will also buy luggage, they will also buy utensils, they will buy literally every category, bags, whatever you can think of. Every category will get sold. So that is, and other malls like Lulu and Phoenix, Nexus, everyone has developed a similar IP around that. So these kind of collaborative exercises are good for the mall. They get the right TG, and also good for brands like us. It helps drive sales for us. So I think it's now more of a collaborative exercise, and we also have the confidence that it's just, obviously, everyone wants to maximize their revenue and profits, but we know that if there is any genuine problem, the malls are also there to support us.
Got it. Thanks a lot. So, but if you had to nail down one or two things that you think today you would expect a mall, right? You talked about the fact that they're curating events like, you mentioned Wedding Tales, right? Wonder which mall does that. It's DLF. But sorry for the brand plug, force of habit. So, apart from category specific things that drive footfall to your store, what else would you really want a mall developer to do for
something, thinking out of the box. Like, I was in a jury in the morning. So one of the malls did a rock, paper, scissor competition. Something very out of the box, and it got great engagement. One of the malls did like a, kids Olympian. So they had a kids Olympics. So like people from 6 months to 3 years. So, things like this, especially if you can get young people, you can engage with young kids. If you tap them young, they're customers for lives, and it engages the entire families and entire communities. I think those kind of things which, which get the whole family involved. I think it's a great place, great way to target.
Great. Thanks for that answer. I think Aiswarya was nodding her head when she heard rock, paper, scissors. Is that what your mall did? All right, good brand plug for you also. Moving on. Sandeep, so we've always had this term being thrown around, customer centricity, and we've kind of had different versions of it over the years. So as a mall operator, how has your definition of consumer centricity or customer centricity evolved in the past few years? Is it more about your customer, the mall's customer, or is it more about your brand partner's customer?
On the customer centricity factor, I would just say that earlier, the malls as an operator or as a landlord used to always think about driving traffic, driving footfalls. Today, it's just not limited to driving footfalls. It is more about understanding the emotion that they have, how they come in and what they want. So the driving factor now is why they are coming, what they're getting in the mall, and what they're taking out. So that is where the entire changes happen now. So most of us are from the hospitality background or from the mall background, where we realize that service points are no more there. It is more of connecting with the customers and making an experience to them that they visit it again and again. That's where the change has come in. To help this, I think a lot of my colleagues would take this point that AI has helped us in ensuring that we get the best analysis to get emotional quotient, understand the EQ, understand the demographics, the heat flow, the zonings. So all this have actually helped us to help our brands to perform better. And on the concept which you asked, what is the shopper there or it is this thing, it is both, because at the end of the day, it's the same. Most of them either translate to a brand consumer or it is our shopper. So after the AI comes in, the info comes in, that is where we create that environment where the brands are successful.
Thanks. I think that's probably what we've seen over the years, that it's never mall versus, it's mall and I think, like you rightly said, it's not just the mall customer, it's the mall's customer and the brand's customer that helps. All right, Rajesh. I'm going to ask you a very, not controversial, but a very wish list kind of question. If you had a wish list for your ideal mall partner, it's almost like a dating question, what would be your top 3 asks to truly create a shared consumer strategy?
Hi, good evening. I don't think any of the mall guys are here inside now. So I'm on
the
a
mall
safe
guys
side.
are all over here.
The layer above now. So a couple of things. So we need more of a collaborative effort. So when I say collaborative effort, we need say about some data on footfall, you know. But this, I mean, the mall people say, "Kini 5 lakh aaya, 10 lakh." That doesn't work these days, you know. I mean, everybody must have their own things. But what kind of footfall, what cohort you are getting to the mall, you know, what kind of, data about the consumer, what's coming into your mall. I mean, typically a mall should be buzzing on a Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday or Sunday. But there should be weekdays also. So, you know, people say that malls don't have business on the first half of the week. But there has to be some collaborative effort where you should, you know, pull some crowd at the malls on the weekdays also, because we do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you split that, it's equal revenue. So that should be very more effort on that. Also, more of collaborative branding per se. I'm not saying you put 2 hoardings, that's a collaboration. That doesn't work, you know. Everybody, if you have a D2C brand, there's some money to burn, so you'll take up the main front facade. But what about the legacy brand? Like if he's a 144-year-old brand, I'm sure he's not going to burn money on putting a hoarding on the front of the mall. Right?
He might, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you're... So that kind of efforts we need more. Also, we need more insights on marketing. I mean, what kind of marketing you do? I mean, it's too personal probably, I will say. I mean, a couple of malls have done this events of calling movie stars for their, you know, a song launch or something. What kind of crowd you are attracting? I mean, that's the lowest performing business in my store that day. And that is, you guys, I mean, the mall people call them on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, it's pretty disturbing for the business. I mean, you call them, I mean, there's no problem. You need to call them. Call them on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Get that crowd, at least 10%, 5% spillover you'll get on your store. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I mean, the entire atrium is crazy crowd. People are standing on the front of the store and there is so much of noise. I mean, they need to understand, you know, I mean, though not every mall does that, but few mall does that. And probably that's one of the things that has to be discussed from their point of view. Also, events they do in the mall. I mean, do we really generate that footfall to convert into your store for revenue? I mean, who has done that? No, there's no data. I mean, if you ask them data, बोलता नहीं 10 लाख आदमी आया था. 10 लाख आदमी खरीदा कितना? I mean, just Akshay Kumar gets that much of selfies and that's for him to do, right? We are sitting there for 12 months, there are no holidays there, right? So all that partnership need to be discussed, and we need more data on the footfall and insights, maybe data driven or maybe AI, I don't know how, but we need that because malls, we need to open stores and mall will be, coming up. So these are all small things what we need. I mean, this is from a hardcore retailer which has done all his life.
Yeah, hardcore retailer and straight from the heart. I can feel the pain coming out. So you talked about quality of footfalls. You talked about the fact that, what's the analytics behind those footfalls, men, women, groups of this thing. And you talked about events. Do events really help you? And with that segue, good question, I'm going to turn it to Aiswarya and put her on the spot. And my question is coming from his comment. Events in malls often struggle to convert into sales, and we're talking about quality footfall. So how do you, as a marketer, ensure that these cultural events, seasonal engagements, influencer engagements, and Akshay Kumar visits are curating and moving the needle for your retailers?
See, it really doesn't need to be a struggle. As long as there's an organic integration between the retailer and the mall, it can seamlessly lead to sales. Just this morning, we presented an award category for Bangalore, where Yash had visited, and it had led to overall 19% category growth, 15% F&B sales increase. So it depends. The only aspect we need to consider as mall marketers is how can we integrate our retailers into every campaign of ours. So there are several things that we do. In several of our retail stores, we are doing workshops inside the stores. So we talk about malls being experience centers. Every retail outlet needs to be an experience center too. Retailers should work towards that. And if retailers are not working, as marketers, our job is to analyze sales every month, see where we can improve. Talk to the retailer. The retailer should also talk to us. What can we do to improve the experience? In several F&B brands, we host mixology sessions, or it could be simple painting activity for kids, but then it's leading to footfalls directly into the store. Just recently, we did a preview for one of the brands who launched a new collection. We invited our loyalty customers, our Signature Club, paid loyalty members. We brought in an artist from our end, curated an entire day of experience inside the store. So we've got plenty of ideas. We want retailers to talk to us. We're ready to help you.
Okay, so the challenge is back to you to talk more to the mall and tell them what you want. But that's a very good point about saying that events are not just about big, over-the-top atrium kind of this thing, but micro events inside the stores, getting master classes.
So workshop kind of a thing. What you're on spot on. I mean, you need to do. You said a painting workshop, a cookery workshop. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't require space, but that's a collaborative effort with the brand which is taking part, or which brand are that F&B or there is a stitching thing, there is a painting, nail thing. So different categories can have workshop. I'm on with it. So we also do a lot of workshops whenever there is any promotion happening at the mall. We take part religiously.
And you see that impacting your sales positively?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but again, that has to be relevant, right? I mean, somebody's telling me, "Tu abhi mehndi ka event mein aa ja," so it doesn't make sense for me.
Okay, all right, got it. Now, you talked about data being, not really forthcoming from the mall side. Now, Manoj, I'm going to bring you in over here. So, there is often this whole data wall, or this transparent, fictitious thing between the retailer and the mall. Now, I want to ask you, what do you think are your structural or technological changes that you are implementing or you've seen implemented that truly engage into a two-way collaboration between the mall and the retailer?
Thanks, Amit, and thanks, Images, for having me here. A lot has been spoken since morning. I think we'll try to add some more value to that. And we're the last man standing between the team and the bar. So, okay, coming to that, I think the malls and the retailers are on different pieces of the same puzzle, and we're trying to solve the same problem. And a lot has changed over the last few years. The collaboration between the mall and the retailers it's now much more collaborative, I could say. So at Foro, what we do is we have done quite a few structural changes. So first one I would say is a shared dashboard of database. So we have been offering our database to retailers for their use. And in turn, we're also getting a lot of database from retailers to use for the mall usage. So that change I've seen in past few years, that there's a lot of to and fro is happening. That is one good bit. Second bit is whole collaborating approach. Few years back, I would say that we used to interact with a retailer for a specific event, right? And it ends with that event is ending. But now we have a more structured way. We're meeting them in monthly basis, quarterly basis. We've been sharing our marketing calendar with them, and we're also asking them if you want to include something for your category, your brand, we're happy to include that. So that marketing calendar of the mall is not just the mall's calendar, it's basically co-created with retailers. So it's not only to get footfall in the mall, it's basically the right footfall, a quality footfall, a relevant footfall, and a repeat footfall. That's what we target to. So we try to get a footfall which actually improves business of the retailers. Thirdly, I would say the usage of tech. One example I like to give is that we are piloting one, trying to get a dwell time of customers inside a particular store. So let's say we have 180 stores in a mall, our Forum South Bangalore, so we are testing there. So we are calculating how many customers are entering each store, and we also have facial recognition there that we are trying to get that particular customer has spent how much time in that particular store. So we're using our existing CCTV cameras, we're running AI on top of it, and we're doing it. It's already been, certain results already been falling in place, and we will share those data with the retailers. Okay, in a month you got this much, this is your dwell time, and that customer is going to that particular store and is going to that particular store. So we can do collaboration with those. So all these, this is the overall structured things what we're doing at the mall. Yeah.
Great. I mean, I really love that dwell time thing. I think that could be something that the brands would be really interested in knowing, you know, from a mall perspective, if they give that kind of data to you. Anish, how are you doing on time? 10 minutes. Oh, 10 minutes, great. We've got some more questions to go, or do you want to end 10 minutes earlier? Anyways, we've got a couple of questions more, don't worry. Okay, that's fine. We won't stand behind the bar. But question which I think is quite important is, which I'm going to give the data, this thing back to the mall teams. Guys, if you wanted data from the brands, what is it that you think you would want the brands to be more transparent with you? Let's go the other way.
See, we have our own set of database. Like we have our footfall numbers, we have our parking data, we have the dwell time, we have those kind of data, and we have also loyalty database with us. What retailer have is the real customer mobile numbers, actually, who is shopping, what is shopping. So that there is a wall actually that we don't get the data, but we have found a solution. We don't want the data, we use the data. We send our communication to them, please pass on to your database. And similarly, there are brands who come to us, we take their communication to our database. So at least that collaboration is started. So that wall is a little half broken. I'm sure in future we'll break the full wall.
No, yeah.
I have to say one thing. I mean, end of the day, the retailer won't give you the number. I mean, being very candid to think. But if I have to ask from him, the brand, I would love to take the heat map of the floor-wise, the zoning-wise, what walk-ins, I mean, exact number-wise. I'm sure you guys have everything, right? So particularly, I mean, if there is an exit or an entry of a large format, and then the vanilla starts. So I would love to have the heat map floor-wise also. Then if it becomes very easy for the brand people to us to tell the team, ki boss, तेरे फ्लोर पे तो 5,000 आदमी लोग आता है, why only 50 people come to your store? So is there something with my brand, or the service is bad, or out of that 5,000 people, 500 have already visited and they didn't like the experience of the store, or come what may. So that is very critical for us these days. And if that is, then the purpose is solved. I mean, the entire zoning, location, it justifies, you know, what rental you are paying on certain floor, you go on up, the zoning. So floor-wise heat map, I don't know how you guys could share that, but I would love to have that for our insights.
Just to add onto what Manoj said, the AI that we are doing is based on the cameras. So you're layering it on the camera to get the heat maps that can actually be shared with all the retailers. There's no problem in that. Those dashboards can be shared so that they also understand how many people are coming in.
So are you doing it currently? Are you sharing it?
We are already on, it's on a POC now. Okay. So it should be getting done and we'll be able to share that data. That is not a problem.
So next images when we do this in Goa, we'll be saying, retailers will be saying, thank you. Yeah?
And I think one more thing that I would like to add here is, as Manoj said, the relationship has changed over the years. It has actually matured, where there are certain factors which stop the retailers giving the data. There are certain things that stop the malls from giving the data. But sharing information can easily be done by the mall passing it to the retailers and the retailers passing it on to their database. Right. So that can negate the problem that we've heard across all the sessions where retailer would not give the data or mall would not give a data, but that would negate the problem.
Right. Yeah, I want to bring in Mayur over there. You talked about content and you said content with context is what is important. Now, malls create a lot of content. We all have Instagram channels that we need to fuel. How are you integrating your content with the brand partners' content?
Yeah, so the number of things like, and this is no different from what rest of us, we have been doing it in the industry. So, of course, there are influencer activations that we do, content creators coming and shooting. What we have realized of late is that the way there's no rocket science, right? The way the algorithms are designed, no matter how much ever you do branded content, it doesn't get the hits that it deserves to, right? So therefore, the whole concept of emotional storytelling comes into play, right? At times, we need to take a step back, not get tempted, and say, we don't do those salesy promotional content, and we do more native, organic looking content, and it has worked beautifully, right? So that's on the content part. While I've been listening, I got very tempted to sort of jump into the topic of data, right? If you allow me to.
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah. So I think this word, no data, ये बहुत भयंकर word है, right? बहुत ही भयंकर word है, and I think this is the cause for, and as you rightly pointed out, it creates that fictitious wall between retailer and malls. For a moment, if we come out of this word data and we focus on insights, and look, let's get real. Every organization has got their own data governance policies and laws, and it's not going to change overnight, right? That's the reality. So what do we do now, and how do we move ahead? I think the best way, according to me, is to come together in a room, sit down and start from the collaboration has to start from the ideation stage. Not कि मैंने plan बना दिया और आप इसमें आ जाओ, right? So the whole designing of the program needs to be done with retailer. That is one way of doing it. Secondly, I think as malls, it is our responsibility and we have to be committed to make our plans and get it ready on time, right? We cannot run for the last moment, अरे यहाँ पे integrate कर सकते हैं and we get sponsorship, etc., etc. So planning much ahead of time is the key, according to me. And then if we sit across with a retailer and discuss what we can do, how we can integrate, etc., I think it will yield better ROI.
Cool. Thanks, Mayur. Mayank, as a fourth generation entrepreneur, if you were to tomorrow set up a mall, what would your relationship with retailers be, or what would be the fundamentals of what you believe you would ask your retailers to do?
So first of all, I'll charge both rentals and rev share every month, not either or. That is the first thing I will do. I'm just kidding. So I think, being on the other side, it's again, it has to be a collaborative exercise. The pain points that obviously we feel is, sometimes the cost of operation becomes very high. Especially in the lean times, it becomes a big challenge, especially for business of our scale. It becomes a big challenge because it's a highly seasonal business. So, I think there needs to be more of a thought at a strategic level on how to bring the overall cost of operation down and how things can be, how a model can be developed to actually deal with that. But that is a practical challenge that we all face, especially when we are talking about the marquee malls being present in them. So that is a challenge, especially when it comes at the time of renewals. So we suddenly see a big jump in the rentals, and which totally changes the profitability of a brand. So there are some practical aspects that are there. So if I was to be on the other side, I think there has to be more innovative solutions for that.
Got it. Thank you. Great. And we have about 20 more questions to go, but I'm going to pause on that. And if there's any questions from the audience that you guys want to ask, which I'm sure you're not going to, but anyways, I had to throw it out there. But thank you.
Hang on, you got a question.
Sorry, we have a question. I'm sorry.
You have a question. The only session today to get a question.
Wonderful. We are truly
Someone
blessed.
really doesn't want you all to get to the bar.
Interesting subject. I thought like data sharing. Very well, very wise thought of malls and retailers sharing a wise thought. Before that, I just want to keep a check on that. Data, it's like a souvenir gold. It's very important for every retailer as well as the mall. Don't you think sharing a data, we should set a protocol there, because it goes to a wrong hand, handled by a wrong person. It might create a vice versa effect also. So before sharing the data with each other, don't you think we need to set a protocol or a right documentation is required, or otherwise handle by your own? Advertisement, what you want to advertise. For example, a retailer wants to advertise. Take the advertisement tool and spread it through by your own for a mall. Or mall wants to promote something as to promote their entity. Can't we give our content to the retailer and they spread across through their database? Because sharing a database, it's always a threat. So in this generation, what era we are going, data, it's not only a data, it's a complete Bible for the every retailer and every mall. I was having a thought, so what's your thought on this?
Listen, good. I mean, I think some of the panelists
Sorry,
touched upon it.
before you get that answer, before you all share data, can you all just keep in mind there's something called data privacy? So before you go around selling me around,
That was going to be my
So
answer.
just replying to Vinod on this is that data sharing is not saying that we will share the data. We'll say that it will be decimated by the respective people. It is not that I would share my data with the retailer or the retailer would share their data with us. It is decimating from their point to their customers or our shoppers.
Yeah. I think the DPDP Act that's coming in talks about consent, and consent is given to a particular party. So its onus is on that brand to protect the data of that consumer. So like he rightly said, it's not about sharing the data, it's about utilizing the data in the most appropriate way. But you're right, it's still early days. We're still trying to figure out our ways around the whole navigation of what is privacy and how do we actually utilize this data in the most compliant way. Because as a consumer, how many times do you want to be spammed by different brands and brands that you haven't even used? So we got to be very wary of that. I'm sure all the gentlemen and ladies over here are going to do that. So if there are no more questions, Anish, I think we'd like to, close the session. And if you want to do the honors of declaring the bar open.
well, I was going to, but then I had a bunch of teetotalers at this table who said, no, it's too early. You can't open the bar yet. Vinay, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Thank you very much. Great session, Amrit.